So, good evening or morning or wherever you are in the world. Hello to you. I'm Christiane.
And I'm Marie-Françoise, and we are sisters, if you hadn't guessed.
We're the Wolff Sisters. And we are really excited to bring you beyond the law of attraction, living the life of your dreams, finding your passion and creating the high vibe. So just to tell you a little bit about us, I'm Christiane and I have been a celebrity trainer for 17 years. I own a gym, I'm a fitness writer, and I'm also a business coach specialising in PR.
And I'm Marie-Françoise. I'm a TV presenter, model, and I'm an actress in the UK and also in LA.
Yeah, very exciting. So we wanted to bring you this webinar because we've been practicing the law of attraction for years. I mean, even before it was called the law of attraction, it's just the way we live. And we wanted to run through the basics of the law of attraction, didn't we? So you start, Marie-Françoise.
Okay, so I hope that maybe you've heard about the law of attraction. Some people know it as positive thinking, but it's really that we are all magnets in the universe. We all have a certain energy, and that we're magnets, so that we attract everything that we think about. Basically, thoughts are things. Thoughts become things. Like attracts like, hate attracts hate, and sort of the premise of it is that you can attract whatever you want, as long as you're in a high vibe.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to identify what you want, finding something specific that you want to hone into. So focusing on a particular goal. And a really good way that we found, and the law of attraction teaches, is to kind of go into every category of your life, because it's quite difficult to kind of say what you want in general. It's quite difficult to kind of specifically focus on your whole life, isn't it? So it's quite good to break it down into your home, into your relationships, money, career, spirituality, creativity, health and fitness. So just breaking down all areas of your life and what you would like to achieve in those areas.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if you wanted to, just in your notebook, list all these things, maybe write out of 10 how they are right now. So your home life, is it 10 out of 10, 5 out of 10? And then you kind of can see where you want it to be 10 out of 10 to make it sort of your perfect home environment.
Yeah. And then also, it's really important to write down what you want your goals to be, because otherwise you can flit, can't you? You can kind of flip from one to the other and lose focus. So actually just writing it down and making a note, maybe buying your own journal or book to specifically write those focus goals down on. And then, above all of that, to really appreciate what you have already, and maybe even have an appreciation or gratitude. But
yeah, this is like the most powerful bit, because even if you just reflect on your day to day, often we finish the day and we kind of forget all the amazing things that happened. Maybe it was a nice gesture somebody did for you, maybe they gave you a car parking ticket, or just very simple things, or just a really nice conversation with a friend. If you start logging these things, it's incredible because you will attract more of that. So the more you write down the positive, the more positive you'll attract. And it's just the same, I suppose, if you're going to write down on the negative, you would attract more negative. So the idea is to raise your vibration, to feel happier, and to really draw your attention onto the things that really feel good to you. And I know it sounds simple, but this is one of the most powerful things to start you off, and to keep. This is something you should always keep going.
Yeah, and it works particularly well, actually, if you're in a really bad frame of mind, doesn't it? Because even if you're feeling very negative and pissed off about something, you can always find something in your day that you can appreciate, even if it's just
we're alive.
Yeah,
my heart is
you're
beating.
Breathing.
Yeah. That you made it onto the planet.
Yeah, and then if you start focusing on just the fact that out of 50 million sperms you are here,
it's a miracle.
It will start to grow into something more positive. So how has it worked for us? We found that this has been really, really good for obtaining new positive things in our life. And so I'll go with you, Max.
Oh,
Well,
how does it
yeah.
work for you? Yeah, so when we first started this, so the very first time I was writing down the things that I wanted, just finished university and had no money. So I wrote down a figure that I wanted to earn in a kind of ha way. But actually, several months later, I did earn that amount. So that was quite a powerful thing. But then also things like really putting my attention onto the kind of relationship I wanted to have. That was an incredible thing for me, to really identify what is good for me and to attract that kind of partner. And manifesting amazing TV jobs, working with the Travel Channel. You know, we'll go into this later, but things like that just came up for me. I didn't even have to screen test. You know, sometimes you write these things down and then the universe will bring you that person and you'll have this meeting that will influence sort of the future.
Yeah.
But it's been great QVC and adverts. And for you, Christian?
Yeah, and for me as well, it's been really good for attracting the right relationship, or even if I'm in a relationship, that relationship developing into something better, or taking me into a new direction. Specific things I asked for came. I attracted new clients, I attracted meeting amazing people, boosting income, and even having my child. But what we both really found was that when we started doing the law of attraction, well, we started doing cosmic ordering, which is a similar thing a few years ago. And we kind of wrote down our goals and what we wanted. And we found that, yes, we did attract these things, but it took a period of time.
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily come straight away. Sometimes it took weeks, sometimes it took months, sometimes it took 1 or 2 years. And then eventually we got there. And we thought to ourselves, well, how can we speed this up? How can we speed up this process?
Or what's happening to make some things fast and some things slow?
Yeah.
And if you look at it, the things that are slow are there and they're going slow because you've got some resistance in the way. Maybe you've got belief that actually this can't happen to me. Or maybe you're just not really actually that excited about it, because the things we found we are most excited and passionate and get that feeling in your belly, those are the things that come instantly because you haven't got that much resistance going, no, I can't have that. So that's a really interesting thing to be aware of. And then also that can also lead you into, if you really listen to that, maybe you're following the wrong thing. You know, maybe following what actually really excites you is the path that you should be on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a bit, actually, because quite often you can focus on the wrong thing, and then if you're focusing on the wrong thing and you're attracting it, what's going to happen then? But this is a lovely photo of our cousin in LA, who's a celebrity hairdresser. He does all the Kardashians, and he'd just done our hair.
That's his Beverly Hills salon, and that was the spontaneous trip to LA.
Yeah, so this was a spontaneous trip that we had, and we're going to talk about creating the high vibe to attract things that you want very, very quickly. But this is exactly what we did in LA, and we just attract everything like that. It was just amazing. So yeah, we're excited to tell you about that. So, do you want to speak?
Yeah, so the biggest obstacle is self-doubt, being unable to maintain what you're asking for, feeling like shit, and then worrying about feeling like shit. And I think that's a big thing. And if you've looked at the law of attraction, it is all about sort of remaining positive and everything. But we're human; we're all gonna feel crap at times. You know, life is just not smooth, and we've got to have the highs and the lows so we can appreciate what's good. We need the contrast. We need the light and the dark. And how much you believe you can have something will affect how much you can have it. That was another thing that we were just mentioning. You know, if you don't really believe that you can have it, it's going to be a slower process for it to come to you.
Yeah.
But even just write it down. I mean, when I first wrote down a figure of how much I wanted to earn, I didn't necessarily believe what I'd written initially, and I was sort of laughing about it. But because you then keep looking and referring in your notebook and keep looking at that, you start imagining, okay, so if I had that much money, what could I do? Or you, even just the simple thing of you're looking at it, you'll start to manifest it.
Yeah. You get used to it as well, don't you? You get used to that figure, and then that figure can grow. Even things like writing yourself out checks of amounts that you wouldn't normally be used to. But one of the things I found with coaching my clients is that often with the law of attraction, they feel like they should focus on something really, really positive. And then they get freaked out because they don't feel positive necessarily about it. So they then start feeling negative, and then they get freaked out because they're focusing on something negative, and that's going to attract more negativity. So we feel that you do need to let it all out, don't we? And
you need to let it all out. Yes.
yeah.
Which we'll come to that in just a minute, because it's very important to try and, you've got to release how you're feeling. Just talking about listening to the higher advice if it doesn't flow. So just going back to this idea of, if maybe you've been doing the law of attraction, maybe there is something and it's just not happening for you.
Yeah.
Maybe take a step back and think, right, why is it not happening? An example is, I thought children's TV be brilliant. I thought I'll pursue that as my way of getting into telly, and I did lots of bits and pieces of kids, and I had loads of big auditions, but it wasn't just flowing. Nothing was just flowing, and I found that when I couldn't daydream about it. So I'd sit and think, oh, what are CBeebies, and I'd think about me being in the studio, and then I get distracted by the thoughts. And when I sat back, I thought, actually, it doesn't really, in my belly, I feel like that's what I should do because the elements of it that I'm good at, but I wasn't that passionate. And then when I thought about what I was passionate about, travel, I absolutely love travel. It's one of my biggest passions. I would love to present a travel show. And I immediately found Travel Channel and I wrote to them. I had a meeting and they didn't even screen test me. And 6 months later, they had written and commissioned a show for me. So that's an example of how things can just flow when it's the right thing and you don't have any barriers in the way. You're on the right path.
Yeah.
So passion is so important.
Yeah. So the way of finding out that you're on the right path. So as I was saying, like, a lot of my clients focus on something, get freaked out that they're not into it, and then worried about focusing on the negative. The way to get rid of that is just to say, does this feel light or heavy? Is this really exciting me in my belly or not? Is this stressing me out? Am I getting lots of headache from this? I remember once I was writing something, I was writing a manual and I lost it. It took me probably 2 months to write it, and then I lit. And at first I was like, oh God, I can't believe it. I've got to write this whole thing again. But actually, I rewrote it, and the second time round I wrote it, it was so much nicer to write because the way I wrote it before wasn't right for me, and it was just very, very sticky. And the second time round I wrote it, it was suddenly like really fluid and much better for me personally. So yeah, ask yourself, what do you love? What are you passionate about?
And write it down. Write down what you're passionate about, what things excite you. And this is a really good thing to do if you're not sure kind of where you're going, if you need more guidance in your career or where you really want to focus your life. Just write down your passions first and foremost. What do you love? And then everything in there that you love, try and work with that.
Yeah.
And then this brilliant thing of what Christiane was mentioning
can I just
earlier.
quickly butt in there? We did a thing recently, didn't we, where we wrote down what excited us last year? Because sometimes you don't know what excites you. If you're in a not so great place, you could think, like, nothing excites me at the moment. So perhaps look on the year before, what made you happy and excited
what great things happened, and what makes you buzz. So we were talking last year, some of the great things, like really brilliant meetings with people, or trip to LA where we just buzzed, and you could just let go of everything else because being away, holidays I think are very important. Or just very, very simple things, things that you love doing, like going for a walk in nature or getting to bed with fresh, clean sheets. They don't have to be big things, but write down what you're passionate about and what you just love in life.
Yeah. So listen, does it feel light or does it feel heavy, what you're doing?
Yeah, what you're doing. If you have any questions, maybe an opportunity comes up, maybe someone approaches you about something, sit back. Does this feel light to me, this choice, or does it feel heavy? And if it feels light, it's always the right path. It's the same applies with people.
Yeah.
If you've got people in your life,
new relationships,
are they energy sappers or are they positive givers? Or just maybe tune into that. How do they make you feel? Do they make you feel light or do they make you feel heavy?
Yeah, new clients, new business opportunities, new relationships, new friendships, new teachers. Is it light or is it heavy? So I'm just going to ask everyone who's on here now. Does anyone want to ask any questions at this point? Anyone want to ask any questions about what we've spoken about so far? No questions yet? Okay, cool. Right, we shall carry on then.
So creating the high vibe beyond the law of attraction. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, but one of the things that we really noticed, or we really struggled with as we've been working with it, is, oh my God, I feel when you feel really crap. So I started off, and so did Christiane, where you feel a bit shit, and then it's like, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. And you're trying to find ways of making yourself feel better, but then all you're doing is pushing down the negative emotion that wants to come up. So a kind of revelation for us is to allow yourself to feel crap. Give yourself a time limit, like you were saying.
Yeah, I like to give myself a time limit to feel crap, because I could talk about it forever. You know, I could ring up all my friends and repeat the same old story to each and every one of them, and then go round and round and round and round in circles, and then they kind of almost could enhance it, because they're like getting into the juice of it. Yeah. But actually, it's far better to just let it out, maybe to just one friend. Give yourself a time limit to feel really pissed off, whether it's 50 minutes, half an hour, one day. Just give yourself a cut-off point, and then make a decision. Okay, enough's enough. Yeah, I've got rid of that now.
I think that's a great idea. If you set yourself, I mean, obviously it depends what the situation is, but if you say give yourself 15 minutes to go mental, like bash a pillow, if you can be on your own, get it all out, feel so much better. I mean, crying as well. I find it quite hard to allow myself to cry, but it feels amazing to cry. Then you can move on. So this is something that we're really trying to kind of encourage ourselves to do as well. But for you, it's a powerful thing, you know.
We do have French heritage. Have the French. I mean, I used to live in France. I had a French boyfriend, and they do just let it out. They're amazing. They just sort of have this crescendo, and then that's it.
But can you imagine if you're annoyed with someone and you just tell them and then get it out? You know, obviously. to be in the right mood to do that. But anyway, just allowing the release of negative emotions then brings you back up again, you know, because you've got rid of it. But this is something that's really important. So we're all going to feel crap at times. And the most important thing about the law of attraction, you just allow yourself. It's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to feel anger.
And I think that's not always taught with the law of attraction methods or the secret or whatever you've sort of read about. It's not always taught that, you know, you should allow yourself to be a little bit negative sometimes, and you've got to stay positive all the time. That's just not possible. As humans, we're just not like that. We learn from negative stuff as well. And you know, we are up and down. We don't know what night is unless we have day, and we don't know what dark is unless we have light. So, you know, you do have to have a little bit of contrast and clarity, don't you?
You do,
and
absolutely.
You have to have a little bit of a wave there, but just not allowing it to.
And also sometimes it's, if you do talk to a friend and you're feeling vulnerable, you're kind of allowing them to maybe, you know, so you're always helping someone when you express your emotions.
Yeah.
So high vibing. So we get distracted by what is going on in our lives. So that life goes on, things happen, and you need to make a conscious effort to create elation. So how do you create this elation, you know? But you have to make it your priority. So it's all about feeling excited.
Yeah. So what we found, what we were talking about with LA, when we suddenly attracted things really, really fast and really outrageous things as well, like, you know, we want to meet top Hollywood producers and directors and agents, and, you know, they were things that seemed actually completely out of our grasp. But when we created this high vibe, they came to us immediately. It was almost as if it's almost as soon as we stepped off the airplane, wasn't it? It was just mental. And what we did was we sat on the airplane and we were filming each other and we were giggling and we were saying, what is your ultimate dream of this trip? The first time we went, what do you want to achieve? And we spoke to each other like it had already happened. So we said, you know, yeah, I met this very famous Hollywood producer, and he let us stay at his house, and we talked like that, and these things actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, actually, while we were doing it, we did get hysterical. So, you know, I might say something really over the top, you would laugh, and it went on from there. So the other thing that was happening while we were saying all these things we've done, we couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
So you're creating this thing where if you're finding it really funny, and it's going to come to you quicker, because again, there's no barriers or resistance there. It's just fun. You're just being open to it, and so then it'll come to you much quicker.
Yeah, but I find even just walking into a room and smiling at someone can create that high vibe, that kind of the connection between you and making someone else feel up, and you make each other feel up because you're looking at each other's eyes and smiling, and you don't know what you're smiling about, but yeah. But we did that today with Ian Wright.
Yeah,
we just bumped into him. We didn't know each other. We started chatting, and you know, we made a really nice connection.
It's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. So, I mean, we've been talking about LA, but it doesn't have to be something as extravagant as going to LA to make you feel amazing. I was saying earlier about writing down all these things that you love doing, and really do that. Make a list of things you're passionate about, things you love doing. It might be hugging your pet. It might be having a really good chat. It might be reading a good book. The clean sheets, getting into clean sheets, or I mean, I love surfing. That gives me a buzz. But just really get down all the things in life that give you the buzz.
Yeah, so big or small, but also do put in a few big ones there that makes your heart flutter. It's kind of like that in love feeling, isn't it? When your heart skips a beat. That kind of very, very in tune with life feeling. So yeah, as I said, we did this in LA, and this is us with some huge Hollywood producers there using that technique on the train. On the
writer
plane.
of Indiana Jones on there as well. But it was really amazing because in the space of 12 months, so many things happened. Like I have an agent there now. I have a visa to work there. All the connections we've made are very influential people. And that was just going on a whim, laughing on a plane, going, wouldn't it be wicked to do this, have this happen? And it happened.
Yeah, and I've got some big Hollywood producers book deals from there, and TV deals as well. So yeah, it's been incredible, and we're very excited about what the potential is as well, because if all that happened in 1 year, yeah.
What else will happen?
What else
Anything
will
is
happen?
possible.
Yes.
So the other side of things is looking after yourself. This is something both of us really are aware of. If you eat awful food, which we all do. I mean, I love crisps, and I get on a real. If I'm not looking after myself and working hard, I would just drink too much tea and coffee and eat crap. But I'll feel really bad afterwards. But you forget actually how it makes you feel. So to look after yourself, to eat fresh food, for me, completely changes the way I feel. I think it's really important to look after your body. If you don't look after your body, you'll have nowhere to live. But also for the law of attraction, for feeling good, it's not just about sort of creating your experiences. It's also about what you put into your body. Get the right food. Exercise is a huge mood lifter and a very balancing thing to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, getting sunlight is really important. My energy is quite down if I don't get enough sunlight, especially living in England when we don't get an awful lot of sunlight. So even if it's raining, I try and get out every day and walk my dog. That for me personally is really important. And it's good for you all to find what's personally good for you, and stop doing things that make you feel bad, because that you won't attract good things towards you if you're doing things that make you feel bad.
Yeah, less time watching telly.
Yeah.
Because it makes the energy very sluggish.
Yeah.
You should get out and bounce around, maybe even jumping on a trampoline for 10 minutes can change your mood.
And also things like, reading gossip magazines or the papers or watching the news. You might not be aware of it, but it might actually be making you feel very negative and depressed, and then you might talk about those stories and say, I can't believe what I've read today, how awful is it? And then you're kind of passing that on and making a negative domino effect on someone else, and they're talking about, I can't believe it either. Isn't it awful the way the immigrants coming in, or la 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 la. I mean, I hear these conversations so much around me, and I'm just like,
yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if like you could go for even a day without saying anything negative? So just
hard, yeah.
When
Or
you meet
even,
people, just being positive.
Yeah, even about yourself, you know.
Mm.
I mean, you could be a really positive person to everybody else, but you might look in the mirror and think, I look like crap, I feel like crap, I'm so ugly.
Yeah, this
you
is
know.
another massive thing.
Yeah.
It's like if you listen to what you say to yourself, you wouldn't say it to a friend. And that's something to be so kind to yourself. Like today, just remember, I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm not going to beat myself up when I look in the mirror.
Yeah, yeah. So, what things really excite you? What gives you that flirtatious energy when you're around buzzy people or doing things? For me personally, I love wakeboarding. It wakes me up, and I love doing things that wake me up. You know, wake up my senses. So when I wakeboard, I've got really low blood pressure, so most of the time I feel a bit derpy. So I have to do things that are a bit kind of scary to really wake up my senses, and I love it. Skiing, wakeboarding, climbing make me feel alive and very, very fast. You know, very fast. So all my senses have to work really, really quickly. But what excites you? I love doing things that put me out of my comfort zone. So do you, don't you? Yeah. So
love skydiving and surfing, all those kind of things are exciting. But also I love it, when I meet someone that really makes me laugh or just, lifts you, and it's a very fun exchange. That can change your day.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the things that we wrote last year and what really made us happy last year. And actually, on my list, most of it was meeting fun people, just people who made me laugh, and people who I felt really relaxed around. Because some people, can make you feel a bit uptight or anxious, and actually kind of going through the list and thinking, I just loved that day when I spent that day with that person, because they just made me piss myself laughing all day long, and you feel really hyper afterwards. So stop being around negative people as well,
and energy zappers. And if you do find yourself in those long conversations with people where they're complaining, maybe just turn it around to say, so what do you want? And try and get them onto the path of not what's going on, but what do you want? And for yourself, if you're going down that negative spiral, just think, stop to, what do I want? What do I want? What would be amazing? How can I make this better? Like, what would be the best outcome?
Yeah, I see this a lot on social media as well. On Facebook, I see people entering conversations to have a right old bitch, and I look at these conversations and I just think, why are you even entering into this? Because this is going to make you think about this all day long. You're talking to somebody you probably don't know, you've never met before, you'll probably never meet, but you're all having a kind of dig at each other, or kind of slagging off someone or something, or does that really make you feel good? Does it really enhance your life? I think social media in general can be quite negative. It can also be positive, but try not to get attracted to those negative things, because the moment you get attracted to that negative conversation, and it's very difficult. I might scroll through the news feeds and see someone say, I fucking hate so and so, and you just then wondering, oh, what are they talking about? I have to sort of go, I have to stop myself, because otherwise I'm consumed by it, and then I'll lie in bed and think about it.
You need to protect your vibes. You need to tune in with like what is right for you, and I mean, laugh about it and recognise I'm going to get drawn into that, so ignore it.
Accepting change.
Accepting change, accepting like the infinite possibilities of what can happen. We did talk a bit about this, actually, this sort of fear of change. And
and actually, really interestingly, when you create that high vibe and then you suddenly start attracting things very, very quickly, sometimes you're not quite ready, and this has happened to both of us. So we've created that high vibe, suddenly loads of things
opportunity comes in, the people can arrive, the life-changing opportunities happen,
and then you're like,
whoa! And it's really interesting, actually, what can happen, because it might not be directly related. So for me, the minute a life-changing opportunity happened, monumental argument with a friend
Yeah,
happens at the
yeah,
same time.
yeah,
And like what you were saying about looking at Facebook, I was completely distracted. It took
yeah,
me off the goal, this opportunity, this amazing audition, to like all my energy going into the wrong place. But
yeah,
I think I manifested that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But also I wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready. So if it wasn't that big argument, without creating, like without physically like making a point of it, subconsciously it comes up. You know, something gets in the way, and you
yeah.
allow that to take over.
You can be very nervous of that change. That happened to me when I first started writing for the national press. Um, this was like going back about 17 years, and I suddenly got three massive magazines wanting me to write for them, and I got really nervous. I was like, shit, I'm dyslexic, I can't spell, I don't know anything about anything. I was just like, oh my god, how's this happened? I'm just me. How am I suddenly the columnist of a massive magazine? And I was getting a lot of writing work being forwarded to me, and suddenly I put a stop on it because I couldn't quite cope with the speed it was coming in at. So yeah, it's just kind of being aware of that, and preparing for that change. So when you put yourself out of your comfort zone, that does actually prepare you a little bit more for it. But if you're not quite ready, that's fine. It will come back.
Yeah, it will come back. But I think a great way of getting around that is to think about you already having it, what it would be like, what you would be doing, what would you look like, where would you be, all those kind of things. If you visualize you've already got it, that's very powerful, and also can make you feel more comfortable about if it does happen. It's almost like you knew it was going to happen anyway because you've been thinking so much about it.
Yeah. So believe, act as if you live life. I like to say live life like it's already happened. So I do things that that create that opportunity, perhaps, or it's not a shock to me when it happens. So I went on quite a few TV shows last year, actually just watching them being filmed. And then a few months later, I had quite a few opportunities come my way where people were asking me to be on TV shows. And it just felt very familiar because I put myself in that situation. And I did that on purpose. I kind of knew that was going to happen. Even things like, if you want to start traveling first class, do it at midnight when there's no conductor on the train. Or
in The Secret, they use the example of if you want a certain car, go and test drive
it.
But another thing I find very powerful if you like to write is you write it all out, how it is. So maybe it's a certain house that you want.
Yeah.
Like my house is right by the coast. It's got beautiful open fire, and I've got I've got this beautiful Labrador dog there. It sounds crazy, but if you can get really excited while you write it, that'll help. Raise your vibration and attract in everything that you want.
We've done that with each other as well, haven't we? Where we did it for Elea, but we do it quite regularly. So where are you living right now? And what year is it? And what are you doing? And you can kind of talk in advance. It's maybe 2015, and I'm living in this beautiful Georgian mansion, and I've got 5 kids.
It sounds mad, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, it's really.
If you start practicing these things, I mean, I've introduced friends to it, and they've been blown away. Just the simple things of get a book and write down, the things you want. We haven't mentioned, actually, we put Buy a Beautiful Book and High Vibe and stuff. One of the great things to do as you write it, always write it sort of in the present. So maybe it's like, I love the way I feel now that I'm slim and healthy, and my skin is glowing. I love it when da 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 da. Just try and keep sort of in the present tense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because your brain can't believe something so.
If you're always writing in the future, it'll always be in the future. So if you put, I would love to have da da da, and it's in the future. It's like, I love the fact that I have da 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 da.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
But above all that, if you create that high vibe, if you create buzzy, excited energy, I mean, if you think about it, if you walk into a bar or a room or wherever, and there are a couple of people there just laughing and really in a good mood, you're very attracted to them, or you should be. If you're not attracted to them and they're getting on your nerves, then you're probably not in a very positive frame of mind. But generally, they, you would think, oh, what are they laughing about? They seem like good fun, and you are kind of attracted to that. So if you're in that buzzy mood, you will attract people and situations and energy towards you, because we are all made up of energy. We are all about electricity and energy, and it can be positive or negative.
Yeah. If you took away all physical matter, we are all connected, and so that if you think along those lines, then you're going to pull to you those people that are vibrating at the same frequency as you are.
Yeah. I mean, that is amazing. I'm gonna just tune into you guys. Is there anything that anyone wants to talk about or comment on? Have any of you done?
Can you hear us? Can everyone hear us? Okay, we just had a message that someone's struggling to hear us.
Oh, sorry, you can't hear us very well. This is recorded. If you can't, if your Wi-Fi is not great. Can I ask, do any of you practice the law of attraction? Or have any of you tried to create that high vibe? Has it worked for you? Nobody? Come on, somebody. Daring.
Does it make sense what we've been talking about to you? Have you followed the law of attraction before? It's always really interesting.
Is this inspiring to you? Do you feel, I want to try this. This is good.
Because the next stage is really to get it's 2014, get a nice new notebook that you like, go to the shops, find one, start it off, maybe the first pages with what you love in life, what you're most excited about. Start off with those high vibing things, and maybe what was brilliant about last year, or what's been brilliant in your life so far. And then on the next pages, start to write down, like we said earlier in the webinar about the home, spirituality, there was a sort of thing you could go through all the areas of your life and then write what you would like to improve in each one of those, and go from there and write it down, and then have the gratitude of, keep writing down what you're appreciating. Just keep a log of things. It's so interesting if you keep a log of things, and then you look back on the things that you manifest. Sometimes I look back at things I've written, and it's like, God, that's happened now. And certainly with a friend of mine that I introduced to it last year, just very, things that she really wanted, like the act of writing down, keep on looking. She had even post-it notes on the wall so she could keep her focus on it, and then she'd manifest.
So Vicky has written, yes, I practice this, but do get swayed sometimes. If you get the vibe right, though, it's unbelievable. Things just appear. Yeah, I mean, we all get swayed, and that is normal. Life goes on, but it's just reminding yourself to go back to it, because you can have that period, really amazing things happen, and then you can self-sabotage and kind of make it all stop, and then that's it. That's the end. Whereas if you make yourself, like you would brushing your teeth or washing your hair or doing exercise every day, whatever you do habitually, if you just make this habitually part of your life, even if you have those down times, it will go back up again.
Especially the gratitude.
Yeah,
what do you,
amazing.
What do you appreciate today? Who do you appreciate today? And that even if you are at a low ebb, or you kind of come out of your focus, can get you back into your focus. Just gradually raising yourself back up the emotional scale, from feeling kind of rubbish to getting more positive. That's the other point. Don't I would say, and I think you'd agree, don't write when you're feeling rubbish, because those are the times where you're not going to manifest things. If you wanted to do your law of attraction and write your list, but if you're feeling crap, reserve it for a time where you're feeling quite buzzy, because when you're feeling buzzy, it's powerful, and it comes, like Vicky was saying, it's unbelievable. It can come instantly.
Yeah, but the appreciation diary you can write.
You can at any time.
And what I do actually, I did start off with a beautiful book, but I kept losing it.
Typical.
I just lost it everywhere. So now what I do is I have an app that I write my appreciation diary. There's quite a few apps, or you can just write it on your notes thing. And the other thing that I do is I have conversations with my higher self. So I kind of ask questions and then answer as my higher self answering. But I do get very intuitive thoughts, and I do it on my phone, so it's always there and I don't lose it.
You send emails to yourself?
I send myself, I write it on my notes.
Oh, okay, because this is a great idea.
Yeah.
You should try it for fun if there is something that's been troubling you, or write yourself.
I really don't understand something. I'm struggling here. What does this mean, or what should I do? What's the next step? And then I do meditation, so I kind of go into the alpha level, and then I'll just sit there, and then I go, well, here's what you should do.
So you write your answer, but then when you look back at it, maybe a day later or a week later, it can be quite profound what you come up with.
It's really profound. It's like, I mean, I do painting, and it's a bit like that. When I paint, I kind of go out the room, come back in again, and think, did I paint that? Wow. It's that kind of subconscious flow that you're almost not aware of when you do it, which is really cool. So Fiona's written, mindfulness is a really good technique and does help with your concepts. I've noticed a real benefit. Brilliant, Fiona. Thank you for your input.
Yeah, thank you.
Christopher's written, yes, how does one go about starting on a daily basis? How do you keep reminding yourself on a constant minute-by-minute basis? Do you want to answer that?
Oh, sometimes you can get distracted by someone else's energy, and then you can forget about yourself. Bloody hell! Oh, such a good point.
Yes, that is a really good point. Yeah.
You answer that one. I mean, the thing is, I think we've all got to accept that we all are going to come out of it at some point, because you always have to have this duality, this light and dark. Sometimes you're going to have to come out of it to appreciate when you are manifesting. I honestly think journaling is so important. So to keep, and also it doesn't have to, it could be vision boards, it could be post-it notes you put all around the room, it can be meditating. But I think having a commitment as well to just doing things that make you feel happy. So if someone is you can forget about yourself for hours, you might be distracted by someone.
Yeah, it's not focusing on them, is it? It's like not focusing so much on their negative energy and being consumed by that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I can even think, what are the nice things about this person who's making me feel negative?
Or if you are stuck in that situation, perhaps maybe it's a work thing, so for the duration of the day you're going to be with that person, then make a conscious decision that evening you're going to do something that really makes you feel brilliant, and that could be just having a good chat with a friend, or going to see a film that really makes you laugh, or if you can get out and surf, or do whatever it is that makes you feel
creating that high vibe, bouncing yourself out of it.
There are also lots of techniques, I'm quite visual, so just to have those visual things around me. Maybe it's one of these, have you seen the mood boards that people do, where they cut out images of what they want? It's like a manifestation board, and they stick it, and then have that at the end.
Yeah, that's amazing. Great. Yeah.
I'm just going to read the beginning of your question again. How does one go about stuff on a daily basis?
Reminding yourself on a minute-by-minute basis. Well, a minute-by-minute basis is quite a lot. I would just start the day with a gratitude diary.
And maybe it's just 3 questions you can ask yourself every morning. What am I grateful for today? Who am I grateful for? And how can I make this day special?
And then how can I have a really exciting day?
Yeah, kind of means my vibe.
Yeah.
But actually, it's so interesting, because when I wake up, my mind naturally gravitates towards, oh my God, I need to do this, I need to do this. But if I but if I go, right, I'm going to consciously think, what am I grateful for today? It's so nice, because in that few seconds it lifts my mood, and then I can get out of bed, and then I've just got a greater appreciation, and then all that good stuff will come to me during the day, rather than kind of focusing on what's not going right.
Yeah. And I start my day with a meditation. One I've been doing recently is an I am worthy meditation. So all you say is I'm worthy over and over and over again, but it makes you feel amazing because often we do self-sabotage and we don't think we're worthy of, so say you've created that high vibe, some really exciting things have come to you, but there's something in you that thinks, I'm not worthy of this. How did this come to me so easily? So it's just reminding yourself, yes, you are worthy.
Yeah.
I am worthy. I'm worthy of all the amazing things that are about to happen today.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah.
Anybody else want to say anything? Okay, well, we've got a YouTube channel called the Wolff Sisters, and we're going to be doing some really exciting, high-vibing things very regularly. So we're going to interview some celebrities in kind of weird and wonderful places.
And it's going to be related to the law of attraction.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. We're going to meet different people, find out their angles on it.
Yeah.
Some inspiring stuff.
Inspiring stuff in everything, in health and fitness and nutrition, in spirituality, in business, just meeting really exciting, high-vibing people and seeing what they do, and also just kind of taking the piss out of ourselves and having a really good laugh so that you can have a laugh as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? It would be lovely to hear from you, any sort of feedback, if there's anything that you would like to know that we haven't covered, or even just to keep in touch and let us know how you're getting on, because sometimes it can be the next day. Oh my goodness, I wrote this down last night and this happened. It'd be really great to keep in touch with us.
Let us know if you use any of the techniques and something incredible happens to you. We'd love to hear from you. So we're the Wolff Sisters on YouTube, and my Twitter is Christiane_W,
and mine is Mary-Francoise7.
So see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Have
Bye.
a good evening. Bye.